the modern world. This is Earth right now, but this is the world evolved. The world we live in evolved around their ancient war. They never stopped doing this, right? They just letting all this stuff go on. Humans are doing stuff. Yeah, that's cool. Let them, make clothes and stuff, right? We like to dress nicely, and we like lavish furniture. Like, being a vampire doesn't keep your house pristine. You still have to have workers come over there and, keep the house up. You're not gonna pay some regular, and you can't kill everybody, or you won't get no work done. You can't kill every contractor that came and did some work at your house, right? At your castle. And they have to have their castles maintained, right? So humans exist, but they don't really care about us like that. We're just food for them. They don't care. They're not really trying to suppress us in any way. Like, they already got control, so they're not really worrying about it. And this is more about bloodlines for them. And it's evolution. It's very different. This very, very different. This is legacy. Like, they're far more legacy than anything else. So this world has layers. You don't feel them like you do with Blade, like cops and all that. This is more, it's cold, it's far more institutional. It represents itself far more as old money. I think Blade kind of did that too, but this is like definitively old world money. It's very gothic, so it's got that cool, Blade, you can't get away from vampires without going a little bit gothic, right? Like, none of it, right? So these guys in this world, man, they are ballers. They got like massive estates, strongholds. They have elegant parties. They're all like super aristocratic, and I think, like, I don't know what this is. I don't know why I did that. I don't know what this is supposed to mean. But if I do this, it means, Blade's a Brit. Like, I'm repping it OG. Like, I'm giving credit to where they actually come from. Blade is British, okay? But look, this is what it is. London spawned Blade, which it seems, because a lot of our stories kind of trace from Europe as far as being like true. We still trace a lot of true vampirism from Europe. So London is absolutely acceptable, right? How the Eastern world where he would come from moved into London. There's been a lot of movies about that. In fact, if you go back and watch The Last Voyage of the Demeter, man, this is a flick that you got to check out. The Last Voyage of Demeter, because that's what it is. It's the vampire going from the Eastern world to, I guess, London. I don't know if that's the West, but Western culture represented by, he went to London. London was the biggest thing on the planet at that time, so this is why he goes there. So this system, again, with Blade, everything goes way back. They're like the first immortals. The Lycans are a part of that. Like, they evolved together, then they split. So it's not infection. This is not infection, and I don't know how easily people are turned, but it's more about lineage, and I think that's what it is. So you have these two forces. You have the vampires and you have the Lycans, and they're at each other's throats, quite literally, and pun intended on that one. And, the vampires are controlled. They're the aristocracy, their structure and all that. The Lycans are adaptive. They're aggressive. These are the rebels. And you get, anomalies, because it's a little bit biology and evolution. So you have the hybrids, you have the elders who represent ancient power. So this is a two-sided ecosystem war between these two species for power, right? In Underworld, you have defined hierarchies. This is very important for them. You got the elders at the top, you got the commanders and enforcers, and you have the soldiers, right? So I think Celine's kind of in between. Like, you're a soldier, you're like the hottest soldier here, so we always want you at all the parties, and you never want to listen. You never want to listen, Celine. Like, that's the problem. We love you in your dresses, and you never want to show up in your dress. You're always going to be out killing vampires. So you see, like, culturally, this different feel of, like, obligation to one another, control. Their nobility. This is how they move. They are nobility that exists right now. They don't care. They don't, like, they're not trying to wipe out all humans, right? They're just trying to do what we do. It's a good life right now. If these Lycans would shut up, like, Lycans are the problems, right? Lycans were the field dudes, right? They had to do all the work. So this war spills over, but this conflict isn't just random violence. This is war with a really long memory. Like, this is beef, man. Beef. This is serious beef, man. This is not what Ja said to 50, right? This ain't Ja 50. This not that kind of beef. This isn't even 50 Ti, right? It's not that. This is 50, right, versus 50, right? If you don't know what I'm talking about, 50, like, that's, check it out, right? So this is a real true blood war, and it has phases. So they don't, you have like at times where they had the primary conflict, and you had eternal betrayals, like it was chill for a long time, or it wasn't chill if you were a Lycan, right? But there's real it's a constant war going on between these guys. All this stuff, technology's thrown in there. She's very well armed, so they're very modern. So this series kind of combines like very ancient and very modern kind of seamlessly, and it seems like the vampires themselves are less affected by it, right? Like, if I had to compare them, I don't know if Damaskinos, because like I don't know if Damaskinos fits in this world. I don't think that he does. They're different. I don't know how they fit in this world, but it's further investigation. Now, in Blade's world, like obviously we knew silver, sunlight, all the things were the weaknesses. In this world, like they still have some of the same weaknesses, right? Then that matters, right? They exist, but they're always being challenged because they're trying to evolve. They're evolving away from this, right? I don't know if there's a lot of experimentation, but they're definitely evolving through this. And every time you see a hybrid, these rules start to change on what they're actually vulnerable to. But they've always got weapons, so they're continually tracking these changes. They're trying to track all the hybrids because that's what it is. As far as, the role of humans like me and you, yeah, we don't really matter that much. They don't really care. Like they exist. They care that we exist, and that's about as far as they go. They don't really they're already in charge, so they're not really tripping off of us at all. And we just live there. We coexist. I mean, if it's called coexistence when you don't have no control and they just let you do whatever you want to do right then, okay. So we coexist with them, and that feels good to me because I haven't had one of them run up on me yet. Now, the one that I think is the most interesting